Hey guys, it is your boy Callie. Actually, no, my bad, CDS. I'm sorry, still mixing up the names. I wanted to do CDS because it's a name that no one really uses right now, so you wanna have something different than all the other YouTubers basically. But yeah, so let's get straight into this. This story is about the time that my friend shot a BB through the freaking window of a car. And it wasn't his car, or when I mean his car, I mean his parents. It wasn't theirs, so that even made it worse for him. And this kid was like one of those kids like you meet and you're like, oh, this guy's a mama's boy, or just like he listens to his parents way too much to make him a little different than any of the other kids. And that is really basically the background on the kid. And so let's name this kid. Name him Jack. So Jack, God, Jack to this day is still a retard. Not gonna lie, he's kind of retarded. But his parents got him this BB gun, and he's like one of those kids where he's like, oh, are you sure you want me to have this BB gun? Cause I might break something or something like that. And they're like, no, you should have a BB gun and play with it and stuff like that. Just make sure not to break anything. And he's like, oh really? And then he's like one of those kids where, oh yeah, now you give him a little bit of a leash, like, and he's done. He's gonna go and do whatever he wants and act like, oh yeah, they let me do whatever I want. But yeah. So I was at his house, and at this time we were best friends. And to this day, I don't talk to him anymore. He actually is kind of annoying now. He was different back then. He was actually really funny and nice. But yeah. So I was at his house, and we were just chilling, and I was sitting there, and he was playing with his BB gun. He's like, "Oh my God, I got cool metal BBs and stuff like that," and I'm like, "That's dope." And I'm just sitting there like. Basically, I was hella tired that day, and I was just like, okay. And I don't even know why I went to his house that day, but I'm happy I did because it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. Like, when you're in the situation where you do that bad thing, you're like, oh, that's not funny at all. But then when you watch it, you're like, oh my God, he's a retard. But, so yeah, I was just chilling there, and we were on the front porch, and because he had a target in the front, which I don't know why he put it in the front, because people could like call the cops saying that he has a gun, or I don't even think you're allowed to. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's like a law against like BB guns, but the thing about it is his BB gun didn't have the orange tip, so there was like a huge problem with it. But the fact about it is that he didn't care. He was not a smart kid, so he just did whatever he wanted, and he just shot his target, and shot his target, and shot his target, and kept doing that for, I would say, probably about an hour or two. And so he was doing that, and I got on my phone and I was checking Twitter because at that time, I think that was when I first started my first ever channel, or it had to be then, but it was like early, like I think I made at the time just one video and I had a couple subscribers. It was very early into my old channel, but the fact about it is I was just doing that and I wasn't paying attention to him, and then he comes up to me and says, hey, do you want to try using the gun? So I picked up the gun. I was like, okay, I'll shoot the target. And he's like, wow, you're very accurate. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess that's good. Because I was like, I was at the stage where I was so tired that I was half asleep. And I still, to this day, I don't even know why I went to his house because I could have just slept because I needed sleep that day. So yeah, I was just chilling, doing my thing, and of course he goes and says, oh yeah, look what I can do. And he's like shooting the target, and he's like, oh, did you know that there's a safety on it? And I'm like, yeah. And when he put up the safety, he didn't do it correctly. I don't know how you mess up putting up the safety, but he didn't do it correctly. And instead, he shot the bullet. And he aimed it. He had his hands like wide out, and and basically it was aiming at a car, and it was like a big truck. It wasn't a truck. Yeah, it was a truck. It was a big truck. I know that. And it was white. Yes, it was a white truck. Sorry, just the memory. That wasn't that long ago, but I was half asleep, so the memory is still a little confusing to me. But I just remember the main part about the story. And the main part was he shot through the window, and he had such the gun was very the FPS was it wasn't a small amount of FPS. It was actually very large for the gun that he had. I mean, I think it was in I'm not sure. It was high. It was very high. I mean, I had one time had an airsoft gun that was a sniper, and it was less than that. I mean, but that sniper had a lot of FPS. But basically, he shot it, and it being a metal BB went straight through, and then out the other side. That's how strong the FPS was. And yeah, it was just went straight through, and it was so fast. And the fact about it is, he shot it, and he was freaking out. He was like, "Oh, what do I do? What do I do?" And then at one time, he was like, "Oh well," he whispered to himself, but I could still hear him because I was laughing hard. But I could still hear him whisper, saying, "Oh, maybe I should just blame it on Chase." And I wait, did you actually just say that? And he's like, "Well, I'm a perfect child," and all of this stuff. And this is when I started not liking him. And he's talking about how he's a perfect child and you're a friend and everything like that. And I'm like, just take the blame. Jeez, your parents will forgive you. And yeah, he kept freaking out about it. He was freaking out about it. And when he told his parents, he was more mad at himself than their parents were. He was like, "Oh my God, I understand if you want to ground me for a month or two or anything like that." And they're like, "Oh, well, we were just planning to ground you for 5 weeks because you're a good kid." Because he was a good kid. He just wasn't that smart. And that's really what messed him up. But yeah, that is it, guys. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. And peace. Yo guys, I want to say at the end of the video, whoever got to this, thank you very much. You are a beast. But I also want to say that I need a designer and logo, basically that kind of person. So if you can if someone can send me a DM on Twitter and slide in my DM, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm kidding. But can you just if anybody can design logos and stuff, because I can design logos, but recently my ideas are not there anymore, and I would like fresh minds. Or if you do not design logos, it'd be nice if you guys give me ideas of how it should be, or give me examples or something that you would like the logo to be. And it's just basically PDF, and if you can figure something out like that, that would be I would be very thankful. And I would help you in some way. I'm not sure. I don't think I'll pay for it. No, I won't pay for it, but I will do something that any other way that I can do, a shout out or something like that. Or I can just anything. anything for money. I can't do money. I just can't do money right now. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you got here, you guys are the greatest, and the support I've been getting is phenomenal. And I'm so happy that I have this channel. Thank you guys for giving me this opportunity and giving me because now I've had hard times before, but now everything has changed because of Storm and Steve and all of you guys too. The people that have been supporting me ever since I started this channel are the best people because they're like, you love seeing people that have been supporting you ever since, even though you had crappy videos at the beginning. You kept going and people gave you tips and everything, and now I'm here making better videos and all that stuff. Sorry I didn't put in the pictures. That will be next time. Having problems with importing stuff like that. But